folks, JD here, and today we're going to be putting together the C-17 transport aircraft. Alright, let's open this up and let's have a little look inside. Okay, and this is what we've got. So what I've done is I've put everything that doesn't need to be in this particular build to one side, like the transmitter, and we'll come back and we'll have a little look at that once this is built. So what I'm going to do is we've got a couple of bags here. So we've got one bag which contains the motors, the propellers, and we've got the USB charger there as well. And I've got another bag which contains some spare propellers and the landing gear, and a couple of other things in there as well. Now for this build, I'll say right at the start, I'm not going to be putting on the landing gear because I have nowhere around with enough tarmac for me to actually start from a rolling start. I'm going to be throwing this to throw start it. So the fuselage I'm not going to put on, so these two bits and one there, they're not going to be visible at all through this build. So what we've got at the bottom is we've got the printed circuit board, and we've got a couple of cables there that the motors have to be plugged into for left and right, as well as we have the main battery cable there as well. And right in the bottom, I don't know if you can see, there's a battery. Now the battery is a 3.7 volt, 300 milliamp hour, pretty standard battery, so that is going to be going to one side as well. As for this build, I'm not going to be needing that just yet. So I'm also going to be putting to one side the printed circuit board and the bottom part here. So what I'm going to do now is let's just have a little look and see what we've got. So we've got our 4 blank motors, we have got the tail, we've got the wings, and we've got the rear stabilizer as well. Right, now with this, it has to go together first of all. Let's have a little look. Oh yeah, one thing to mention as well, as you're going to be looking at this particular wing, you'll notice that the fake engines go in the front here, but then this particular aeroplane has rear-mounted motors and rear-mounted propellers. So they are going to be going in this particular part here. The cables are going to run down the inside of these little trenches here, and then just sit affixed inside there. Hopefully that's what's going to happen, but as we've all seen with the other quadcopter and other builds that we've had on this channel, sometimes things don't go according to plan. So for the second, what I'm going to do is just swap the fuselage with the wing. I'm going to get all these little bits stuck on, and then once they are stuck on, then we're going to look at applying the motors, running the cables, and then getting everything set up from there. So this glue I'm using takes a little while to set. All my hobbyist glue, unfortunately, has gone out of date and is rock solid. So for this, I'm going to be using some other glue. Now I've used this before in builds. It's not brilliant, but it is, once it's set, it's fantastic. It's just getting it to set is going to be a bit of a nightmare. If you do have hobbyist glue, I 100% recommend you use that. Although this stuff does work, it does require a bit more pressure and a little bit longer for the glue to go off. When the glue is set, it's absolutely fine. You won't have an issue, and some of the things I've built and crashed badly are still intact. Okay, so right, let's stop me talking and let's get on with this straight away. So for this, we need to get out these motor coverings here if you want to put them on. I imagine that it would be a good idea too, because it would probably enhance the balance of the aeroplane as well. Okay, so let's just pick these motors. So the little motor housings here, the little motor covers, the fake motor covers rather, they just sit on this little plate a little bit like that. Obviously you do have to glue them in, but that is essentially what you're going for, is that would be the finished article. So with this, let's just get a bit of this glue. Now I'm going to be using ever such a slight amount and just rubbing it around the whole surface. Hopefully, unless this glue has gone off as well. If so, this is going to make for quite a weird video. Nope, there we go. We're good. So just a little bit of glue. Just hold it in there, and then just to stick the plastic to the polystyrene there. Hold it in for a couple of seconds, and then we leave that to dry. And now we're going to repeat this 4 times. So I'm probably going to skip this a little bit. So that is pretty much the finished result, where you have the plastic which is totally encased around that, the plastic which is encasing the polystyrene there as well. So that's done. That's one little done. That's okay. So we've done all 4 of those. So I'm leaving those off to one side just for them to set now. Now the next bit is to attach them to this wing. So there's a flat part here This flat part has to stick to the flat part on here. So once again, I'm going to do this once and show you how to do this once, then I'll probably speed this up a little bit as it's just the same step repeated. So a little bit of glue, and then going to stick the little bit of glue that we've got on this flat panel here. We're just going to stick to here as best as we possibly can. Hold for a couple of seconds, and then that is the finished article. So now we have one motor on there, one engine on there. Right, okay, let's repeat that for the other 3 little motors. Okay, and that is the finished result. So I'm going to just move this slowly because the glue hasn't gone off yet. But there we are, we have the four fake motors, 4 fake engines if you'd rather, just sitting there. Right, so I've got to wait now for this to go off. Okay, so now the next bit is to attach the motors. Now when it comes to the motors, I've been sitting here for about 20 minutes trying to figure out which one's right and which one's left. And the only way that I can tell, and I doubt very much that this camera is going to pick it up, but where the centre pin is there, a little bit over from the centre pin is a tiny L for left and a tiny R for right. And I mean, it is ever so tiny. I doubt this camera's going to pick it up. And this is the right motor, and the way that the motor gets fitted is it gets fitted with the motor side, where you can see the 2 little parts of the motor here facing up. So we have to stick the back bit here to the EPP foam here. So what I'm going to do is on the left and the right, there's a big R on the right and a big L on the left. I'm going to make sure this is the right motor. Is this? Yeah, that's the right motor. Perfect. So let's pull that out a little bit. So okay, so what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glue on the inside there and a little bit either side here. Just rub it in a little bit there, just so that we can sort of get this sticking quite easy. Right. What I've also done as well to try and help a little bit, let me just bring this up to you. What I've tried to do a little bit as well to try and help is when I've attached the right motor here and I've got the glue around the inside, I've also, on the start of the trench here, I've put an ever so slight amount of glue, just so that it holds the cable inside the trench. What I've found is when you reposition this motor and the cable automatically goes and hangs down like it is here, it'll pull the cable out of this little trench here, which means that you're not following that trench line and you're not going to be able to run the cables in correctly. So I have put an ever so tiny amount of glue just on the top here. So there we go, that looks to be in quite nicely. What I'm going to do as well is, again, without cracking the actual internal cable, I'm going to just pull this cable a little bit, just have a little bit of tension on there, just so that it sort of follows the trench. And then we're going to repeat this very annoying process, and we're going to repeat it on the left side. Okay, so we've got the left motor in, we've got the right motor in, we've run the cables roughly where they should be. Next bit now is to run the cables across the in the hole here in the fuselage and have them come out the bottom, so that then we can connect them to the printed circuit board. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to focus on the fuselage for the second, and I'm going to put 2 little bits of glue on these 2 almost dowel type bits of foam here, and on this side as well. And then these 2 dowely bits fit in the dowely bits on the little cutouts here on the wing. So now it's a very tricky job, and it is. I'm sure it's not tricky for some people, but for me this is probably as tricky as it gets. Post the cables. Then, without pulling the plugs on the cable, just pull the cable a little bit taut there, not too much, but just enough. There we go, and then feed it back just so that you can get, there we go, perfect. So there we have it. We have the motors fitted, we have the fake engines fitted, the motors fitted, we have the cables run, we have the cables popped through here, we have the fuselage attached to the fuselage attached to the wing. I think it would be good actually at this stage, if anybody when you're building this, if you've got any clamps, that's something that I think would be quite handy for this. Right, so with this now, what we're going to do is we're going to fit the rear wing. So basically what we want from this is we want, if I can face this way, you want the bottom of the eagle to face down, this part fits into the bottom of the fuselage, and then you have this wing then just fits into the top a little bit like that. So what I'm going to do first is just attach this wing. So for this, if I can move this fuselage and 3/4 plane out of the way. Now for this bit, what I'm going to do is we have 2 little crevices here for glue, so I'm going to put quite a sparing amount in. I'm going to put quite a good amount in there, and then I'm going to flip this round and squeeze this in. So now the foam has gone in. Ooh, there we go. So what you want to do now is just hold this together for a couple of minutes and just ensure that it goes off nice and solid. And then hopefully once that is on nice and solid, then once this glue is all set a little bit, we can flip this plane over and attach this to the back. Alright, so this is now what we've got. So we've got the 4 fake engines are fully attached and actually on pretty stable. What I've also done is I've got 2 little hobbyist clamps on the back that just hold it on the motors, just so that they're nice and straight and that they don't point in any other strange direction, which might give this a little bit of a weird flight. So from this point now, hopefully we should be okay to turn this over. This is what it looks like so far from the front. Look at that. That looks amazing. I like the look of that. Okay, we're going to add this tail now. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue on the inside of this tail. Oh, come on. And then we should be okay to just affix it. Okay, so put a little bit on here, just on there. Come on. There we go. And a little bit on here as well, either side. Just so that it'll stick nice and securely, because if we lose the tail during flight, then we're going to have an aircraft spinning out of control. So with that, now there are two different modes, two different ways you can fix this. You can fix it so that it points up slightly, or you can fix it so it's all the way in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fix it so it's all the way in. So with that, pop it in and then just push. And then you should, hopefully, without moving this EPP foam too much, you should then have that, which is a totally affixed tail directly on there. What I'm going to do as well is just add a little drop of glue on the inside of there, just a little bit, just to hold it on, and the same on the back there, just ever so much, just a tiny amount. Right, there we go. So that's what we've got. So this is the whole plane. So we have the front, we have the underneath, we have the two actual motors here, we have the 4 fake motors at the front, and then we have the tail on there as well. So all in all, this thing is pretty large. Look at that. That is lovely. I really like this. Wow. Okay, so this is going to take a little while to dry and just to go off properly. So in between there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these little points to the wings. Now for that, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to turn it back over slightly, and these go on the back end here. So you have the one that flicks out towards the back to the right, that goes on the right side, and then the one that flicks out to the left goes on the left side. So that is the sort of effect that you're going to be getting. And where they fit in is they fit into these little bits here. There we go, so it fits in sort of like that. And then that then should give you a little bit of extra flight, a bit more stable flight rather. Another little drone under there, like that. There we go. So then we've got a plane with 2 clamps here, 2 clamps here, all held on properly, with 2 drones under there for support. So there we are, folks. Hopefully this is now going to be ready to fly, and hopefully when we get a nice day I'm going to take it out and we're going to fly it. Thank you ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.